everyone, my name is Madeline and today I'm going to be baking cookies with one arm and showing you how I make them. I'm going to be making peanut butter chocolate chip cookies, so if you'd like to follow along, I'll leave the recipe in the description somewhere. And the first step is to add flour, baking soda, and baking powder and salt into a bowl and whisk them together. So I am now just taking the flour out of the flour container that we have and putting it into here. You need 2.5 cups of it, and as you can see, I've already made a mess. No, that is the joy of baking with one arm. I'm just adding this in here, like so. Pat it down, and then I'm adding it to a bowl over here. So the next step is for baking powder, and with this container, it's pretty easy. There's a little ledge so I can level it off, and these specific measuring spoons I can actually set on the counter if I needed to. And then I'm gonna add this to the bowl. And then for the baking soda container, it's a little interesting just because of the nozzle and how it comes out of here. So I'm gonna take the lid off using my knees. And I'm over my sink, but I'm actually gonna hold this in my mouth and then pour it in like that. There we go. I did kind of spill some off the edge, but like I said, we are doing this gracefully and excessively. We might make a mess in the process. Add that, and then just gonna add a dash of salt in there. And then for whisking this together, this bowl's pretty big, so I'm just gonna put it on the counter here. Maybe I won't. I'm gonna hold it with my body in the counter like this and whisk it together. Mixture is finished, just the flour and baking powder, baking soda, and salt. And the next step is to melt the butter. I already took the butter out of the package. I just used my mouth to unravel the butter out, put it into a bowl, and now I'm going to throw that into the microwave real quick to completely melt it. With the melted butter, we are adding in peanut butter. So we need 2/3 of a cup of peanut butter. And to unscrew this, I'm going to either use my neck or my knees. I'm just gonna use my knees because it's easier. And then I feel like peanut butter is always like a tricky thing to get out. Once again, I'm gonna use the counter in my body. Then hold it with my mouth. My least favorite activity is actually spreading peanut butter on bread or spreading cream cheese on a bagel. It's always my go-to answer whenever one says what's the hardest thing with one arm, so the fact that this is a process. Alrighty, I got the peanut butter cup somewhat filled, so I'm gonna go ahead and add that into this bowl. It's another bowl that I have, and I'm gonna put the bowl on the counter. Almost lost the peanut butter there. All right, and once again, I'm going to use my mouth. So alrighty, for the most part, I got majority of the peanut butter out there, and then I'm gonna add in the hot butter, and then we are supposed to vigorously stir this together. So I'm gonna put that in the sink, and then I'm actually gonna move you all to, this is how I bake when I have to vigorously stir something. So I'm going to sit on the floor and use my feet. It smells really good. For sugars, we have granulated sugar and brown sugar. So for this one, it comes in a container, or let's see what we have here. And I'm just gonna scoop it into here. Give it a shake to level it off. And then add the 1/2 cup to the peanut butter mixture. To make this easier, you could sit at the kitchen table and like combine all the ingredients. However, for me, this is just how I do it and how I adapt. I could bring a chair over here and sit down. And if mixing cookies like requires a full-on like mixer, I sometimes will sit in a chair and do it. However, I'm just working with the environment that's accessible to me, and this is accessible and this is how I do it. So I just enjoy standing and it's easier for filming as well. All right, now we have the brown sugar, and I believe we need a full-on cup of this. I'm gonna use my teeth to open the bag. I know, teeth, not great. And then I'm gonna balance that there. Move that around. So bags, I just have to say, are not the easiest. And yes, I could move it to a container, but it's okay. We might make a mess in the process, or I'm just going to, yeah, I'm just gonna scoop the brown sugar and put it into the cup. Got that packed down. It's not exact, but once again, we're baking with grace here. And then I'm gonna go ahead and add that into the peanut butter bowl as well and stir this together. Cool. I have all of the sugar, butter, and peanut butter combined together inside of the bowl, and the next thing is to add the eggs in individually. So you need 2 eggs and then 1 yolk. And for this, I'm just gonna whack the egg on the sink, split it in half, and then take my fingers like this, and then separate it. Maybe, oh, there we go. So, there's that. I know I should be doing this over a bowl in case I get yolks inside, or eggshells inside, but I trust myself even though I just got 1 eggshell. Okay, maybe we'll do the next one over a bowl. And this one, I'm just gonna try to get the yolk only. Oh, okay. I'm gonna let the egg yolk, or the egg white out. Oh, you can't really see this. By going back and forth with, hold on. Basically, I'm going back and forth with it to try to get the egg yolk, or the egg white into the sink, because I just need the egg yolk. I'll come over to the sink so you can see. So I'm just going back and forth with it until I just have the yolk. Yes, I'm making a mess. Yes, I probably could have saved the egg white, but baking with Madeline. Nothing is perfect. Sweet, so now I got that. I'm just gonna go ahead and plop that in and wash my hand and then stir it in. All right, I'll actually do this egg properly, so I'm gonna crack it on the sink, and then I'm gonna do it over the bowl. There we go. I didn't actually get any eggshells in at that time, so it's a plus. This is like cracking eggs with 1 arm. I know some people can do it really fast. It definitely took me a while to learn, but I use my fingers like so much for everything. Oh, probably shouldn't be talking while that's on. I use my like fingers so much that it was pretty easy once I figured out the motion to just crack it. So practice definitely makes perfect. So my last thing that I have to add to this mixture before I put the flour in is the vanilla. And with this, I'm gonna show you 2 different ways because there's 2 teaspoons, I believe, that I have to add 2 teaspoons. So for this one, I have these heart-shaped ones and they lay really flat. And I can take the vanilla cap, twisting it off, put it down, sorry, the cap, the lid was stuck. And then I'm just gonna pour it in here. There's one. I'm gonna very carefully move it. And then the second way is I just hold it with my mouth and pour over the sink. Like that, and go ahead and dump that in. So I highly recommend using the ones with the flat edges. We have these like spoon things that don't lay flat, so I don't usually use those. And I also have these measuring cups that have a leveler on top, but I just didn't feel like the need to use them for this recipe. However, if I really am wanting to be exact, I will use these. Hello, we're back on the floor. It is now time to add the flour mixture that we have into the peanut butter mixture. And so for this, I am going to sit on the floor. It says to gradually add it, so I'm just going to carefully add some without making a mess, and then stir it in using my feet. Like I said earlier, you could sit at a kitchen chair and do this. However, my floor is pretty clean, so I feel safe doing it down here, and I'm also really flexible, and using my feet is the best like tactile experience for me. If I sat in the chair, I would hold it with my knees like this and be able to add it in. I'm just being real with you how I would normally do this. All right, I'll probably fast forward this part. There's a break of me cleaning up my mess. I am on the last step before I put them into the baking pans behind me. So I am going to add 2 cups of chocolate chips. I just have the cup thing, and I'm just going to grab them out of the bag and put them into the cup thing. I'll probably do a little less than 2 cups because my family likes things a little less sweet. So yeah. I went ahead and just sprayed the pans. So now we can add the cookies. I have a cookie scoop that I'm going to attempt to use. If not, I'm just going to be dirty and use my hands, but that's the fun. There wouldn't be baking without the mess. So about that size, and then, oh yes, just plop them down. Some of the chocolate chips came out, so push those back in. Okay. With my neck, and then slide my hand in. While the cookies are finishing up, I'm gonna go ahead and lay out some wax paper to put them on after they cool on the baking sheet. So I just pull these out, and then I am going to turn it and then use my shoulder to hold it down, and then pull it away just like that. And there we go. Now we have a sheet of wax paper. You could also do it the opposite way and cut it like with your hand and hold the box with your neck, or you could use your feet if you wanted to. Once again, to put on the baking glove, I use my neck, and then I slide out my hand, and then to pull out the cookies, just like so, and then I'm gonna let them cool for a bit before I move them onto the wax paper, and yeah. For scooping them out of the pan, I try to use the ledge of the pan to be able to get underneath it and then scoop it to then put it onto the wax paper. And letting them cool, that's like the key to make this process easier, to taking them off, because otherwise it can be kind of a mess and the cookies might crumble that way. So I feel like I'm cutting, my head's been caught out of most of this, but I'm gonna move these and then bake the rest of the cookies. So I just want to say thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something on how I bake with one arm. If you have any questions or video suggestions, leave them down below and I would be happy to make them.